Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Facial Recognition Comedy Podcast. I'm Zara Ali.
I'm Paula Viganalan.
And I'm Fizza Dasani.
And today we have the gloriously talented, amazing, beautiful Jackie Fernandez. Yay!
Yay!
So Jackie is a 2-time Emmy-winning TV host and content creator, and we are so lucky to have her today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my gosh, ladies, thank you for having me. This is so much fun. I feel like we are friends already.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
No, it's not
feel
weird.
it?
I feel a connection.
Do you feel it here?
I feel a connection because
Oh, we're touching.
She took. Ooh. Me too, and I like it.
If you want to see the touching, go to our Patreon site where you can see the video of this podcast.
Yeah.
Where you can see the touching and me eating edamame.
That
Yes.
really
It
cooled
does
me
look
down.
good.
It was like it's hot outside, and you
Yeah.
touching my chest like cooled me.
Yeah, you have
down.
a very cool vibe. Like
Yeah.
it was a very cool aura when you walked in,
Thank
for
you,
sure.
ladies. I
And you're
feel
all
the aura,
glammed
too.
out?
I'm glammed out because I have to host an event right after this, but I
course
really
you're
wanted
busy.
to come spend time with you
Yay!
ladies. Especially after I took this BuzzFeed quiz and I was like, oh my gosh, you and me.
Yeah, she
Ooh.
got me on the BuzzFeed quiz on our facial recognition comedy BuzzFeed quiz.
Let's
Yeah.
explain that.
Yeah, we should explain it. Who can explain it the best?
I created
There
a
you go.
spreadsheet.
It's your
How
quiz.
every story starts. I wanted to make a BuzzFeed quiz so people can, now that they can maybe tell us apart physically, they could maybe learn more about our personalities.
Yeah.
So we had the original 6 who did the first show answer all these questions, and then I made it into a BuzzFeed quiz, and then everybody's been taking it, and it's been really fun. It's like everybody's been posting their.
I got
fun.
Zara.
Me too.
Zara got Karen.
I got one of the other girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't taken it.
So even though you
Fernando.
made it, all the answers don't lead back to you.
No,
Clearly.
they
Well,
don't.
I mean, it could, but it's been a few months, and you know, you're constantly evolving as a person. So, I mean, maybe yesterday when I took it, I wasn't myself. I was
Right.
more like
Karen.
someone else.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
I just like some of the other people's answers better than mine. I'm like,
That's
oh yeah,
true.
that's more me.
Yeah. So you got me.
Yes, I did, and I felt really good about it.
Yay.
What was
That's
it,
fun.
like a classic geek?
It's like I'm like the nerd. I'm in a PhD program right now, and I also do comedy. So
So you're making your parents happy and also fulfilling your own dreams.
I'm never making my parents happy.
Yeah, is that? I don't think anyone ever makes their parents happy.
Yeah.
I mean, you grew up in a Filipino household,
Yeah,
right?
Chinese Filipino.
Oh,
Okay.
Filipina.
Mhm, that's
Okay.
right.
Nice.
So, what was that like? I mean, were your parents always proud of everything you did?
No, okay. So my parents, I'm first generation. Are you guys all first
Yeah.
generation
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
So my parents came here from the Philippines when they were like 25 years old. My dad like worked in a junkyard trying to get his paper. So they were just hustling. I mean, I was born here as a tourist visa baby.
Oh,
Before that was a
wow.
thing, right? Like my mom traveled a lot selling. She was a big exporter of those fake handbags. Like they would go to China and Japan and then sell them back in the Philippines.
Oh, your
So
mom's
she
always
was-
been a hustler
She's
then, from the
always been a
beginning.
hustler.
Yeah.
She has such a great business mind.
That's
My
so
mom,
cool.
She's so smart. So that's why she was able to travel
Mhm.
like almost 6 months pregnant to America.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so she has a sister in New York, and she knew she was about to pop, so
Mm.
had an American baby. You
Hey.
know? Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Mhm.
So there was some intention behind being
Total
Yeah.
intention, right? But then I was shipped back to the Philippines right when I was very young because it's very hard to try to make it here
Yeah.
when you have no monies,
Mm.
papers, connections, and take care of a newborn.
Yeah.
And so I was separated from my family.
Aw.
And that's why I think I have a weak immune system. You know,
Oh,
breast milk.
that breast milk.
Yeah,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So, but
So you're pro
anyways,
breast milk
pro
when the
breast
time
milk.
comes. Good
I,
to know.
I wasn't breastfed either, and I feel like I had a lot of immunity issues growing
Right?
up.
It explains a lot. No, but I got really sick, so she came back to get me. This is a very long story longer, but the point is like my parents, they've always been here like hustling and stuff.
Yeah.
And so they wanted my sister and I coming from this Philippines background to be nurses. There's this joke that Filipino
Yeah, that's a
Have you
big
heard this
stereotype in LA.
It's a-
Yeah.
like,
Stereotype.
there's this joke that Filipino parents teach their kids to be nurses and Indian parents teach their kids to be doctors.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
so like, wow, why is that? Why aren't we trained or instilled to be this in a culture of like, you can be a doctor? I'm telling you, I never met a Filipino doctor until 3 some years ago. Everyone who I met is like a nurse or an RT or a PA or whatever. And there's actually a big community of Filipino doctors. But
wow. Are
yeah.
you on the lookout for a Filipino doctor?
No. I'm not, but because their schedule is crazy, right? But my parents, they really wanted us.
They're trying to do the
nurses.
family thing. They're like, be a nurse, you'll have more time for your family.
Yes, no, it's more like be a nurse, then you could do a lot of overtime and buy a 6-figure house. So
Oh, okay. That's the way to do it. But why don't you just go straight to that 6-figure, crazy salary?
the doctor's salary.
Yeah, why don't you go straight for that?
I think it's because with nursing, it's way less schooling
Oh,
and less
okay.
Less debt.
liability. Less
Okay.
debt, less school, less liability.
Malpractice.
When you're a doctor,
Yeah.
it's like
Mhm.
so intense. But
Yeah.
nursing is
That's a
not
very
as
practical.
considered
That's
more
very
stable.
rational. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. So how did you end up in the world of journalism and being a news
man.
anchor? And what
You
was
look,
that journey like?
Perfectly suited for it.
Yes.
Like when I picture like a news reporter, and do you notice how she pronounces everything perfectly?
She's media trained.
She
You
was
can
like,
tell for sure
25.
everything.
My parents were 25 years old.
Well, I went to anchor school, so
Oh, you
I
did?
was- so,
That's
yeah.
a thing?
It's a thing. So
you
after
could
go to-
major in anchoring.
Do you have a pantsuit dress code? What is happening? I'm
I
so
know, right?
excited.
No, so
I already
there
like
is
this
a
girl with the
pantsuit
pantsuits.
Oh
dress
my
code.
God.
But I wasn't part of that. So I was always hired with every show that I became a part of as their fresh new face. They
Oh.
see colored girl, young, fresh, hip.
The
Let's-
ethnic.
Yes.
Yeah, the ethnic. Let's
Yeah.
build a show around her. So that's
Oh,
happened
cool.
for like every city that I've been in, whether that was Tampa, Cleveland, or Greensboro, North Carolina. And but before I got my job in Greensboro, North Carolina, I was doing production assistant work, like behind the scenes at ABC News, working on their overnight show, which is a show that airs at 3 a.m. It's specifically suited for people in the medical field and new
Yeah.
moms who are up at that time.
Oh.
And I was doing that stuff and pitched myself to do movie reviews and celebrity interviews. And so I was able to do that, like parlay that into being on air on a national network.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So I did maybe a handful of those and made a reel, fake it till you make it. Was very close with this producer and we were able to help each other out, make tapes. And I sent it out. Greensboro, North Carolina at that time was at Market 46. There's about 200 markets in the country. They hired me to be a co-host of a morning show, which
That's
was
amazing.
3 hours a day, live TV, 5 days a week.
Yeah, and
I
so
said
this is
yes.
why she is absolutely perfect. Can you imagine that? Like she's had all this training to be perfect for 3 hours
Oh
of the
my
day.
God,
So-
it was a nightmare.
Was it sort of like jumping into the fire? Like it was just your career ramped up pretty quickly.
yes,
0 to like 80 or whatever.
0 to 100. It was
Yeah.
Yeah.
jumping into a fire of a burning building about to collapse. It was so intense. The first show I ever had, my co-anchor, I had no experience. Really.
Yeah.
Doing a minute 30 movie review is nothing compared to a 3-hour live TV show where you are the main
Yeah.
person. I remember just grabbing him and not even knowing, like just grabbing him like this, his leg, because I thought I was gonna freaking throw
Aw.
up. Like, like every time it was my words on the prompter, I was like, no, yeah.
Have you ever
know?
like messed it up? Did you ever mess it up?
Oh,
real
I had
bad?
messed up every day. And what I learned in that 3 years of Greensboro, especially the first 6 months, is to keep going. You
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
dwell on your fuck ups when you have 2.5 more hours to go.
I was gonna ask if you ever accidentally swore.
I never accidentally swear. That's probably
That's
my
what I'm-
first time ever publicly swearing.
That's amazing. You heard it here on the Facial Recognition Comedy
Wow.
Podcast. How perfectly she pronounced fuck up.
Yeah, but before that, because I had such little experience, there is an anchor school that people are sent to.
That's so crazy.
It's in Dallas.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
it's like it could either be weeks long or a weekend. I was sent for a weekend, and people like George Stephanopoulos from Good Morning America,
Yeah.
they're
Mhm.
sent there when it's kind of like you have some talent, but you need some fine tuning.
Mm.
So he went from being press secretary to then host of GMA.
Right.
He needed some training.
So are there other anchor school, like do you have anchor school buddies that you keep in touch with today?
There's a lot of schools in college that train you to be like a broadcast journalist. So I
Right.
never went to those kind of schools. I'm like a scrappy City University of New York kid, Cal State
Oh,
Northridge.
okay.
So I just hustled so hard to become in that world.
Mhm.
But a lot of people actually go to journalism school. But I am friends with the people who I met at the local stations. and
Okay.
who I did interns.
I have a
with.
really important question.
what is it?
Can you get Zara into Emmy's parties?
Yeah. I just really want to go to these after parties, and I've been
Yes.
trying to get invited for a few years now, and I don't know why it's so hard.
We've
I
asked every
think-
guest.
Like,
with
do
an
you
Emmy,
actually have
which
to have
is
real
100%.
talent to get invited?
Oh, I think it's a real talent to be a hoe for all those people who get it.
Oh
for
my
a lot of them.
goodness.
That's a real talent.
Really? I have no idea like what I have to do.
I think though for this year, because there's like such diversity. I don't know why I did that because there really is. There is such diversity.
Yeah, I saw the Emmy nominations that came
I'm
out
so
today.
excited.
So I think it's going
Sandra
to
Oh?
be, yeah,
Can
it's
we
going to
give
be
her
great.
a round of
Oh, yeah.
applause?
Shout out to Sandra
Woo.
Oh.
First Asian woman to be
Yes.
nominated for lead actress in a drama.
What?
Yeah.
Hello, what the F?
I'll
Yes,
always
finally.
remember her as Cristina Yang
I
because
know.
I'm a big Grey's Anatomy fan. But
so good.
I mean, she's such a critical character
Oh my gosh.
in
yes.
anything that she's done. So
Mhm. I think
I'm
we
a
could
fan.
actually sneak in if we said like we could try. We're all part of like Mindy's crew, Hassan's crew, and
Hassan's crew, maybe. Mindy, I don't think she has brown friends.
Did
then. Are you nuts?
To be honest.
Her
Damn.
assistant is brown.
Her assistant's brown, but like she
Yeah.
never has brown people on her shows.
This is every episode Zara's
Let me
worried about
think.
this.
Is that true?
It's
I mean,
true. It took like a few seasons for her to finally introduce other family members as characters on her show.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like a
Can I-
strategic move on her part or the producer's part or whatever.
Then I will always
Yeah.
vouch for her for the like all the stuff she wrote on The Office,
Yeah.
inserting
Absolutely.
herself in there.
Absolutely.
And
I think
Diwali, like,
I think she's a
I'm
great
obsessed
writer.
with
I think
her.
she's super talented. I'm waiting for her to do more. I just want everybody to do more. That's
Of
all.
course, of course.
Can I tell you about the time I crashed a wedding? Maybe that'll help us.
That'll
Okay,
help us.
yeah,
Let's-
sure.
let's
Yeah.
craft
So
our
I
game
went
plan.
to my undergrad was Caltech, and there's this place called the Athenaeum, which is like the faculty club, and it's like a hotel, and it's literally right next to the dorms, but it's considered off campus. And my friend came up to us in a suit one night, and he was like, "We're gonna go crash this wedding because they always have weddings because it's like a fancy hotel." And I was like, "Okay," and he was like, "Wait, are you serious?" And I was like, "Oh, now we're going," because he was like BSing, and I was like, "You got in a suit for this? We're doing it." And we went in, and the wedding was half Asian, like not South Asian,
East Asian.
Okay.
East Asian, and half white. And I was literally all my friends were either East Asian or white, and I was like the one that stuck out.
Yes.
But we did it, and then we're all dancing in a circle and stuff, like doing like the fun like wedding dances, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden everybody started dancing to like Somewhere Over the Rainbow by
Oh.
the
Hawaiian
dude,
version?
Kevin
Yeah.
Kawai.
I
Yeah,
love that
forget his
version.
name.
Yeah.
And then it got really intense because everyone was like crying and making eye contact, and I was like, now we need to leave. But it was super fun up until that point.
There are several different
we can use
avenues
those
we can
skills.
take. We can
Yeah.
pretend we
Yeah.
are
Okay.
engineers and the parties got messed up. So we can be like, okay,
Ooh.
Pretend.
yeah, like we need to help you. The lighting's down. Then we have like backup dresses. Then we're glam. And we're like, oh, sorry. I really
In
like
our
this
equipment
person's
bags,
Our
right?
own Ocean's
Yes.
4.
Yeah.
Yes. Ocean's
I'm down.
9.
I'm down for this.
Oh, Ocean's 4. I get it.
Yeah, because it's the
I don't
four
know
of us.
I don't know how they number it, but
Yeah, I think
They
it's
do
just like
by
the
the
number of
people.
The number
people
of
in the
people,
heist.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the number of
We're
people in the
doing it.
heist.
So it's Ocean's 4. I like how we're making a real plan. This is happening, right?
I
Oh,
really
100%.
think it could.
what are
happen.
they going to do to us?
When are the
we'll just be
Emmys?
like, I'm sorry, I thought this was a different party, and then leave.
And if they do something, someone starts recording it, and it's like, you don't want to be on Baller Alert for racism.
That's true.
It's like
that would be a very strategic move,
right. It's
actually.
like, we
Yay.
are part of those people over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to be that person.
No, right?
You-
And imagine if like
just
Hassan
shame
is
them into
going
letting us in.
and he waves back at us. We're like, did you see that?
Yeah.
That's our people.
Yeah.
We're with him. We
We're
didn't get dressed up for
doing
nothing.
this. We're doing
We're
this
doing it.
100%. All
We're
right.
doing it.
Actually, our mutual friend is a good friend of Hassan's.
Oh yeah, he could
so
probably get.
that's the connection that got Jackie to
that's
our
cool.
podcast today. So maybe we could actually pitch this idea
To him. I think he's also might be, I don't know if I should say this, but like I think he has a connect for like master forgery.
Wait,
for
what?
like tickets.
Oh,
Like for our
to
passes.
forge
Yeah.
tickets?
Ooh.
There are people that, okay. I'm total
I have
straight edge.
several feelers out there for after party season this year.
All right, you
okay,
guys-
like
I think let's make it.
this
okay.
is happening.
Does he have?
We're gonna make this happen.
Does he
and we're
make
gonna,
fake
like,
IDs so I can like have one that says I'm younger?
Right, McLevin style.
Yeah.
Opposite.
I never thought of that. That's a great idea.
Right?
You guys look young as fuck. I don't
Yeah.
know what you're worried about.
I'm not worried. I'm just talking shit.
All right. How did you get these Emmys?
So I got these Emmys just from pure talent.
Okay, cool. Moving on.
Yep.
We figured, yes, of course. But so it was two. Was it two at the same time, or
No, I pulled the Lakers circa Kobe and Shaq. They were back to back.
Yeah.
okay?
So I won the first one for my work in Greensboro, North Carolina, and what we did for the community and promoting literacy and all of that stuff. And then the second one was in Cleveland, and I won that for a hard news morning broadcast.
Yeah.
A plane crash had just happened, so that's when you throw like the whole show out and you just go, breaking news back to back. It's all
It's like emergency rooms.
yeah. So those are the two that I won.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Is that part televised of the Emmys?
Mhm.
It is. It's
Mhm.
awesome. I don't watch because I don't get to go to the parties.
So this was a national Emmy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of different, people competing for
Yeah.
these certain categories and all that kind of stuff.
So
Yeah.
what's that like being up there, your first Emmy win? Like,
Yes.
did you have a strong feeling that you were going to win? Like, what's that like being nominated and the whole, like, I'm sure you were going through several stages of shock.
So many
and,
stages.
Right.
So the first one, I was nominated 3 times. So the first time I was really disappointed when we lost.
Yeah.
But we were going up against someone who had featured the amazing woman that is Michelle Obama in their stuff. So I said, we're definitely going to lose this one. Right. And then the second year, I just felt like, man, I think we're going to win. Like there's so much passion. Like I pour my heart out into this project. And the camera guy was facing us. And so my co-anchor was like, I think look at they're facing us. Actually, no, I'm the one who said that to him. I was like, look at their like the cameraman is facing towards us. He's like, no. Because you're nervous. Like, and so when they said our names, I just thrust up into the air, the chair fell back. And I totally hogged all the time for the acceptance award speech time.
you should. It's
Did
your
your-
award.
Wait, did your co-anchor get mad at you?
He did get mad at. Well, he didn't get mad. It's kind of like when he started going, it was funny because the music started playing, but he kept going.
Yeah.
But I knew for myself because that project, I'm the one who went every week. I was the one who was so into that, and I was going to accept that award. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's your
I was
time.
gonna let him accept it when he tried to like back out of that project all the time.
Suck it, co-anchor.
I
There
know,
you
but he's a
go.
great guy. He's a great guy.
Suck it, Emmy award
That
winning
is
co-anchor.
amazing.
But you were all in from the beginning. So
I was
you're
all
like,
in.
My speech is going to be all in from the beginning.
Totally.
What was the project specifically?
We went to a different school every week, sometimes twice a week, all throughout our county promoting literacy.
Yeah.
And we did this 45-minute program with them where we would talk about reading and play a game, let them be news anchors, and we made
Aw.
a music video. I mean, it was a very intense program and so much fun. I loved it.
That's
It's
awesome.
like dancing and singing. And then the second Emmy I won, I just said, I made a speech, but I dedicated it to my parents. I said, if I ever won another Emmy, it'd be for you guys.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is how proud they are. They display that Emmy hidden in a box in the corner in the closet. They could not care less. They couldn't care less.
That's
funny.
surprising.
Why?
Yeah.
Are they mad because it's not a stethoscope or
I don't
something? Like, what do
know.
they want from you?
They're just kind of like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, where's the Emmy? And they go, oh, we put it. There was reconstruction. It's somewhere. I'm like, oh my god.
So why don't you have your Emmy?
Yeah.
I display one of them.
Okay.
And then I'm like, do you ever want to put that out? They're like, oh yeah, we'll get to that one day. I was like,
You're like, we have so
Okay.
much stuff to clean out.
right. Yeah.
Parents are interesting people. So
so
it
funny.
seems like this is your personality. Like you go all in. Because I was
Yeah.
doing some stalking earlier or research,
Oh,
however
very
you want to
cool.
call it, and you went all in for Hurricane Irma too.
Totally.
Like 24 hours in a
Yeah.
bunker,
Yeah.
covering a hurricane. Like how do you even have the
assuming-
stamina for?
I'm assuming you wore this outfit.
I wore this outfit.
Leather dress, diamond
Leather,
necklace.
Diamond
yeah,
necklace.
Total. No, but you are fully made up, fake lashes and
I
everything.
hate fake
in a
lashes.
bunker. I know, me too.
How did you
them
do that
so
for
much.
24 hours?
Well, you sleep in shifts. So
Okay,
thankful, but
got it.
like literally the bunker felt like this size, and you're sleeping next to all these people on a floor. So then it'd be like 4 hours for you to sleep, or basically just close your eyes, right? And it's like back up there. Let's go, because it's wall to wall.
Do you have someone to do the lashes after you wake up?
Oh my gosh, there's such a weird myth about local news that people get hair and makeup and clothing allowances. You
Yeah.
get zero of that crap. They treat you
It's like-
like crap.
so you
teacher
have to become
supplies, you have to
really
do-
good
you have to do it yourself.
at hair and makeup.
And that's why a lot of people look the way they do on local news.
Oh, damn.
So when you were in this bunker, you were indoors the entire time
In a cement box.
in a cement. And did you have any access to outside? Like, could you see anything, or
no.
it was?
Only through the camera.
So then how are you like
Okay.
reporting? Like what are you
Yeah.
reporting?
We are, so basically when you're the anchor, you are literally the anchor of that show. You're stationed like in a hub, and then we're just constantly tossing out to reporters who are the real ones braving the elements out there.
Oh,
Yeah, we're like,
gotcha.
let's go to her, you know?
So when you are in emergency situations like that, like with the plane and with Irma, like how do you fill the time while also like being responsible about what you're putting out there, right? Because I've seen a lot of like anchors and programs take hits because they put out information that wasn't accurate or they just repeated the same thing over and over again. Like how do you balance that?
That's really tough because it is so easy to report false information, especially when it's coming. It's not like you do it maliciously or intentionally. That is coming right at you. Your producer is literally like going like this or yelling in your ear, like 2 dead or whatever, right? And then you just trust those people who are behind the scenes. And even though it's like your face misreporting, but you just trust them. And so you either fill it up with what they're saying, you're constantly checking your social media, and you're like, okay, blank, blank on Twitters or saying this, and you just keep repeating the same thing.
So there's a lot of responsibility on your end of checking the information.
Yeah, in those kind of
fact-checking.
situations of breaking news and reporting for extreme amounts of time, that is an EP executive producer once said to me, that is when an anchor is worth their money.
Yeah.
Because that's when they show you and prove to you that they can BS for these long amounts of time and still make the audience feel like they're safe, they're getting the info, that this person is working really hard to get that information to you, and that we're here for you, and not making you feel panicked, even though internally I'm probably, especially I know for me during Irma, I was like, are we going to die? You know, the way that we're reporting it, it's like direct hit to Tampa.
Yeah.
And I was so scared, but you know, on camera, you're just like, everyone, it's going to be okay. But you know,
You're sort of the gatekeeper for that information, or
Are you good at that with like personal emergencies now because of
I
having that
am.
training?
Do you always keep calm and carry on?
I do.
No.
I do.
Okay.
I'm pretty good at keeping calm.
Do you have to like fill the time at like family reunions and
Yes,
stuff? You're just like
Do you just have icebreakers
that.
ready to go,
I'm
like your
so
bag of
good
tricks?
at just being
cousin
like-
Earl is telling me that Uncle Jack isn't gonna make it, but we're gonna get through.
Totally.
So when you're
Totally.
like filling that time, that's so interesting. You kind of are expected to fluff it up and fill in those gaps. And is it just like, are you just repeating facts, or are you giving some of your opinion?
Sometimes both. You really are just repeating facts. If you ever, for let's say some event happened that required a local news station or even the networks to break into coverage, which means there are no commercials.
Yeah.
If you watch for even 10 minutes straight, even 5 minutes, you'll notice how they keep repeating the same thing.
in different ways.
And they keep repeating it because since it is breaking news, you could be watching the whole time, but you just joined, and then you just joined. So I have to recap for you.
So you don't think that there's like a more efficient way to do it?
No. The only way is
to keep updating people.
You have to keep repeating yourself, maybe think of different words to say it, incorporate social media. And then if you don't want to kind of get yourself off the hook for providing, if information is false, be like, I'm just getting this in from my producer. We're hearing like on the street, blah, blah, blah. We're working hard to get you that information for you.
Okay, how would you break the news just in like the most professional way you can that DJ Khaled doesn't eat pussy? How would you break that news?
Oh my God.
Can you just do your professional?
Also, is this news? Would you call it news? Is this something that you would cover?
It's relevant to some people.
It was making headlines.
No,
it really depends.
Okay, let's
kind
have
of a crunch.
her do it.
Yeah, can
Ready?
you say it like in three
the
different
most
ways?
Professional, 3 different ways. Ready?
So to get into your anchor voice, you have to go 3, 2, 1. We have breaking news into the studio right now. We are hearing DJ Khaled is saying he does not enjoy cunnilingus. So a lot of people on our Facebook page are really, really upset about this. We have a polarizing poll happening. About 40% agree and 60% say they're with DJ Khaled. What do you think?
What?
I think that's terrible.
That is preposterous.
Okay, our producer is saying, move on. We'll wrap it up. Let us know what you think on Twitter. You know
That's
what I'm talking about.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow,
Cunnilingus.
fantastic.
Cunnilingus. I
That's
definitely
amazing.
would
You're
get in
just
trouble
studying
for saying
the
cunnilingus,
thesaurus
but
on the weekend.
I'm like, you have to find a way to not say those words
Do they-
unless you're doing a different kind of show.
Do they say anything where like you can't say certain words and you found it like to be like a sexist viewpoint, like or so- or like maybe like racist or sexist or something? Because there have been times sure. I feel like some things are considered more graphic if it's associated with the female genitalia and stuff. Like, especially in comedy, we get that a lot. We get a lot of feedback.
You? Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Well, like dudes
It's
say
like
dick jokes
you're
all the
smarter
time.
than dick jokes. Like that's what I've gotten before. Like, oh, don't talk about your period. But then a guy
really?
comic gets up there and talks about his dick for like.
I
7
literally
minutes,
said the
you
word
know,
tampon, and then this guy got up and he was like, "Oh, it's too graphic," and then he got up and talked about teaching his son how to masturbate. And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, you just said the thing to me though. But anyway,
Yeah, they have less of a threshold for women.
Happen to you? Do you know? Is there anything like you disagree with ethically that you sometimes have to go along with?
I found that there was a lot of stuff like that when it comes to race that I had to really advocate for. I worked on a show where it was very much like you got 20 seconds for every story. And this was a city, it was Cleveland, very much a racial hotbed. You have Tamir Rice, all these kind of things that were happening there. And all the police shootings were happening around the time that I was there. And I'm like, man, we have to give each one of these more time than 20 seconds.
Yeah.
They deserve more time. They're very nuanced stories. They're complicated. And I found like that was very tough. A lot of different euphemisms.
Yeah.
For me, like I find like majority audiences find that euphemisms are comforting, but I want to call them what they really are. And so that would...
So like what would be the euphemism,
right?
and what would be the actual situation?
So I guess there was a situation where there was an example talking about the Japanese concentration camps, and a lot of people were like, those were called internment camps, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I said, well, technically that was the euphemism that was told to us, like internment camps. It doesn't sound so bad as a concentration camp. And then a lot of it was so riled up, such a debate, such a fiery one, that that's the wrong use of the word. And I go, if you actually look at the dictionary, concentration camp means a concentration of people.
Yeah.
What was happening in Germany and all that stuff, those were death camps.
Yeah.
So just that kind of
Were
stuff.
you able
Did you win that
to? Yeah. Were you able to call it?
I was able to
that?
win it because at the end of the day, they kept changing it in the prompter, and I'm the one who said it, so I'm going to say what I'm going to say.
Damn.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's
It kept
awesome.
changed,
I
and was like, I'm
I
gonna
also
change.
think that with the shootings and stuff, the way that they portray the unarmed black men can often be like really unfair. Like they use like pictures that are like horrible, and they like the way that they phrase it and like how they go into like if they were smoking weed at the time. Like
Right. Or he's
they
a
keep
criminal.
deflecting
He has
to
a-
things
yeah.
that aren't relevant to them dying.
Yeah.
And so like the headline itself can be very like
aren't relevant to them being murdered.
Right.
But they say this story in a way that kind of rationalizes their death, and it's like, does anyone ever deserve to die like that?
I mean, it
Yeah.
was
You know?
a lot of heated debates,
Yeah.
I would say, that were happening at an ungodly time,
Yeah.
3 a.m.,
Do you-
where
Yeah.
your brain is like, but you feel so strong, like steadfast in your convictions, like, no. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, if I go over time, I'm the one on camera right now, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And if
Yeah.
you keep taking the script out that I write that's supposed to be impromptu, I'm just going to ad-lib off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not going to take that camera off. Well, you could. The producer could be like, "Brr," like switch it to you, switch it to black, you know?
Do you think was there a lot of diversity in these heated debates, or did you feel like you were the like minority like pushing for these terms? and-
Thankfully, when it was in Cleveland, there was a lot of diversity. My best friend and meteorologist on the show, she's African American. My
my
co-anchor,
best friend and meteorologist. I just love that.
and the co-anchor was African American too.
That's good.
But the people who were in charge were not.
Mm.
You know, and so that's the conflict.
Is that usually the case? We're
Yeah.
finding this to be the problem in Hollywood, and I mean, it's like a known
Everywhere.
issue.
They're starting
kind
to
of
bring on
everywhere.
people of color's talent,
Yeah.
but then a lot of the gatekeepers are still
Yeah.
white. and
All the
men.
top of the networks and all of that. Do you find that in the world of news anchors and journalism as well?
I would say that was definitely the case. I never had a boss who was a POC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
How long
not
have you
even a
been?
supervisor.
When did you start?
I started, let's say, I've been in newsrooms since I was in college.
Yeah.
And so for 10 years, and I worked at like CNN, New York One, ABC News. Like I never had
So
a
no POC
supervisor.
bosses, but were there women
But there were-
bosses?
Women bosses, white women bosses.
Okay, quite a few, or were they still a minority?
They're also a minority within that enclave too.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. You know, they have their struggle, and then it becomes us.
Was there anything that you ever had to say on air that you like regretted later?
Oh man. I feel like there were so many things I regretted saying. I don't know.
But then you
none
can
that-
blame the people that put that on the teleprompter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, nothing
Like,
like factually wrong. I guess
Yeah.
I mean like I guess for me it was my own stuff, like saying dumb stuff, like being silly or saying,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But nothing like in serious.
Okay, that's good.
How much leeway do you have to show your personality? Does it depend on the show or the
Totally
network?
depends on the show. Because the first show that I did in Greensboro, it was all personality. It was so fun.
Yeah.
You had time to like, if you were on vacation for a week, come back and talk about how was your trip.
Mm.
And then when I went to Cleveland, it was very much a 20-second
Yeah.
story show. Like, don't even talk about yourself. You're just this vessel for news. Like,
Yeah.
but then I'm like, then why are people watching? So if you're, what's the difference of you saying stuff than me reading it on my phone if you're not telling me about who you are and making me feel like I have a connection with you?
Mhm.
So do you think that enhances the news to bring your personality into it and be a person, not just that vessel?
I think it does for the local TV news and TV news in general. Like it makes you feel like, oh, I'd want to watch that because I know them and I like them. But I feel like the TV news industry has a tough road ahead of it because more people every year, millions of people cut the cord. So that's very tough, you know, when the business has changed so much from when I was in college. When I was in college, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be on Good Morning America and the Today Show. That's my dream. Like that's it. And then once I was in Greensboro, I thought, oh man, this is all I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Wake up at these ungodly hours, blah, blah, blah. And when everything shifted and you were able to have more autonomy over yourself and your content via social media, I was like, why am I doing this? Where everyone's telling me to be a certain way and forcing me to be this sterilized, censored version of myself and have no power over myself in the sense of, you know, the image you portray on social media. You can't collaborate with anybody outside of this news station, all these kind of things, right? And so people have been able to make content king and make a business and a life out of it. And I'm like, why am I not doing that when I have all the tools and knowledge to do that? And instead I'm here suffering, coming into work at like 2 a.m. doing a job that I'm not even sure I believe in anymore, network, like broadcasting to people who aren't my people anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for example, when I was in Tampa, that audience that is a red state. Only one county in Tampa went blue, maybe one or two. And, you know, they were trying to make me fit into something that wasn't who I am.
Yeah.
So I had to leave.
You left.
I left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now, and how are you changing, you know, the circumstances so that you don't have to fit into something that doesn't fit you?
Well, for one, like I've been watching your social media for the last 24 hours since we spoke on the phone.
Yes, that's how fast
And
we work.
I am very impressed where you care a lot about social change.
Thanks.
And I feel like you use your social media as a platform for it. So is that kind of your, like with everything you just said, is that your vehicle to show that part of yourself because it was kind of censored in some of these anchor programs?
It was so censored before. And for me, I realized like my dream all along was to always tell stories, right? Tell our fucking stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all the time when people of color have been successful and been able to make amazing movies, whether it was like The Namesake, I remember watching that and being like, oh my God, like crying, you know, all that, or shows or what have you. I'm like, I want to do that for our stories. And I always thought if I kept climbing in this broadcast TV world, I'd be able to pivot one day to entertainment. And now I realize, why don't you just do that now?
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing that now? And so what I am doing now is I use my social media as this platform that I am blessed to have to promote social change and awareness and creating these dialogues about things that may be problematic or things that are racist that you're not sure of. So I've created this web series that's all about work, you know, and the microaggressions and sexual harassment and racism that you experience in the workplace, told from 3 different perspectives from people of color.
And this is scripted, or is
This is scripted.
Okay, interesting.
It's a scripted comedy.
So
Oh,
so you wrote it
okay.
and like produced
So I
it.
wrote it and I produced it, and it's like, wow, I can't believe I'm claiming it right now. So it's like in the works. So we shot a pilot, and so hopefully, like, I want to shoot more episodes and all that kind of stuff. And I just think it will resonate very deeply with a lot of people who have these things that go on at work, and it's not always the easiest to just go to HR. You know, sometimes you just have to think, and they're always not all serious. Like, for example, I had a boss, every time I wore a top knot at work, he would bow to me.
What?
Yeah. So,
Wow.
you know what I mean? Just like I would love I'm creating a space where people can share these kind of stories, you know, where it's just kind of like, it's not something you wouldn't go to HR for that, I don't think, but it'd be like, man, this is kind of.
I'd
like
make that
sometimes-
bitch bow every day.
Yeah.
I'd wear that top knot every
Right?
day. I'd show up unexpected
Right?
and make him bow.
I would probably call them out though.
Do you
I
act?
did.
Terrible.
Do you act in the series as well?
Yeah, so I'm in the series too, and but it's really just all amazing stories, and like I love all the people. Like one of my main characters is intersex Latinx, and he is so awesome. We don't hear about that identity at all. He's in LA. He only knows 2 other people who identify as that, right? And I think our culture is just barely wrapping their minds around what it means to be trans, let alone intersex, which is an actual biological condition.
I have a really close friend who's an intersex advocate, and I like lived with her actually. And she's got a really great platform. She was part of Interact, the like youth group.
Yeah.
And she like I lived with her and I watched her she'd accepted it before, but like allow herself to share it with more people, and like she went through like relationship issues, and then she like found a way to like advocate for herself, and it was really awesome. And like there's so many intersex people. I think there are more intersex people in the world than there are Jewish people in the world.
You know, it's as common as redheads.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really common. And but
Wow,
people
I
don't
really
know
wanna
because there's
research
so
this.
many different. There's like a huge range of different terms for it and different types of intersex.
And also people don't
biological-
talk about it.
They don't because it's
Because
really
it's so
shamed.
personal.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of people feel shamed. It affects their like. We should have her on. She's an amazing.
I would love to
should.
have her on.
Yeah. But yeah, that's awesome that he's like slowly finding people. You know.
Yes.
But they're definitely people out there.
Yeah.
Well, it takes one person who's courageous enough to come out, and then they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I identify with that."
Mm-hmm. And
There's someone else.
Yeah.
So when can we see this web series yet? Or
Yeah, so I'm hoping for this web series to be out by the end of this year, and even maybe hopefully by the end of this summer, and then probably by the fall. Split the difference. And then in conjunction with that, I really I'm launching this podcast where it's the safe space for people of color. All people, but specifically people of color, to talk about these experiences that they're having at work, you know, because I feel like a lot of us feel really alone, and the experiences that we have with these things are so different from other young people, you know, and they don't understand it. So that's why it's very much for us, by us.
Yeah.
This space that I'm trying
FUBU.
to create. FUBU. It's FUBU.
Are they
FUBU, the
still
sequel.
around? Are they making a comeback?
I don't know.
What was the brand that made a comeback? Fila made a comeback this year.
Oh, I
Sorry.
did.
All this it's like throwback culture these days. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
seeing
People are
everything
obsessed
that
with the 90s.
Yeah, I'm seeing everything that I grew up with make a
I don't
comeback.
know. I don't know anything fashion. I was in the car with Zara and Fizza the other day, and I was just naming types of shoes, and
Yeah.
I got to like 6, and I like ran out.
She was like Skechers.
I was like, Coach.
That was it.
I just started naming like brands that made bags, and I was like, does Coach make shoes? And they were like, yeah, and I was like, whew. I didn't know. I didn't. Yeah, it's a problem. But okay, wait. I want to talk to you about people that you've interviewed. Like, who's the most fascinating person you've interviewed?
Okay, so I've interviewed the Kardashians.
Wait, all of them?
Amazing.
All of
the
them?
sisters.
Wait, the
Kimmy,
3? Okay.
Cordy, and I don't know why I'm calling
Chloe.
them that. Like I'm friends with
Chloe.
them. Kim, Courtney, and Chloe.
Okay.
what about
So-
the younger ones?
No, not the younger ones. No.
So what are they like in person? Are they the people in person that they project on their reality TV show and on their Instagrams and all that stuff?
I felt like the people who I saw were very much the same that you would see in the reality show.
Mhm.
And I gotta say, this was like maybe a few years ago. Kim's butt did not look that big in person. 'Cause believe me, I was looking because it looks ginormous in photos.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it looks
But
huge.
so I was like, hi, like, but you know, like just wanting to see what it looks like in
Maybe
Yeah.
she was in
Human
between
form.
treatments, though.
because this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
This was circa Chris Humphries.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I think the ass has expanded a bit since then. But you know what? It's interesting that it looks smaller in person because I actually have run into some reality TV stars
How does it look?
who have big asses on TV, and it looks even bigger in person.
Oh, it looks
because on TV, it's like everyone has a big ass on their
Right.
show, but like you see them
Right.
by themselves, and it's like you have a scale. They're next to a tree, and it's like that's not
That tree
what it's
ain't got
supposed to
no
look like.
ass.
Yeah.
That's a flat ass tree.
So true. But I would say the most interesting, who I was so surprised by and like enthralled with, Stephen King.
Ooh.
Yes, you whatever, I don't know what you think of when you think of Stephen King, but this guy is so freaking fun.
Really?
He's funny on
Yes,
Twitter.
he's funny.
I
he's
picture like an
hilarious.
intellectual, but
Yes.
I mean, sarcastic and stuff.
Yeah.
So like funny and that like intellectually funny.
He's vivacious. I'm telling you,
Really?
like on a red carpet, it's like you are doing your report to this camera and you don't see him, and he's like, "Hi," like, you know, like surprising you. Like it's so cute.
That's so
I
great.
thought he was
That's
so fabulous. I really, really liked
Was
it.
this after his accident?
This was, I'm not sure if this was after his accident, but this was also kind of a long time ago, like
Yeah.
maybe 6 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's like the most like powerful moment you've had with someone? Like, what is something somebody has left you with, like a thought or an idea?
My gosh. Okay.
You mean during an interview?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I just mean pillow
Not
talk.
like in life,
I mean-
you know,
I mean
like
pillow
not
talk.
not like your ex-boyfriend or anything, but
Right.
you know.
Well, shoot.
Unless he's someone you interviewed, then all right.
No. Are these televised interviews or just personal?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Just any,
Okay.
just like a good
Something that
moment.
felt poignant and stuck out to you.
One thing that really felt poignant to
If
me.
you say the Kardashians, I swear to God.
I know, that time with them was very, very short. Well, something I recently interviewed Darren Criss, and he's the star of ACS, American Crime Story of Versace.
Oh, okay.
He plays Andrew Cunanan.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm. He's half white, half Filipino in real life, and also
Oh wait, he's also from Glee, right?
he was also from.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay, I
He was
got it.
just, I think, nominated today for an Emmy as well
Ooh.
for his
get it.
performance. Yeah. So he's
So you
very
have
much-
multiple ways to get into these Emmy parties
Oh, yeah, that's
now.
right. I guess I could say that one. And so he is white passing.
Yeah, I
obviously.
never
Yeah.
knew he was Filipino.
He's half Filipino, and he's in a role that is garnering all this critical acclaim now, even receiving Emmy nod
Yeah.
accolades, because it's a role based so much on being half Filipino. There's no way that he was going to get to play Andrew Cunanan
Yeah.
without being that ethnicity.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so much of his descent into madness and being a pathological liar is because of his dad, who's Filipino, the immigrant story,
Yeah.
and how the
Mhm.
American dream destroyed them and created this need to lie incessantly, right?
Mm.
And so that was instilled into the son. But anyway, so my point is, we had this talk, and he had recently said to Vulture before our interview that he is happy that he doesn't look Filipino, right? Because he gets to navigate these spaces, and he said, and he was really disturbed by that because that's not what he meant. He was just, it was a Q&A, and
He has more options.
Yeah, but
He
I'm
was-
sure
but he
there was
looks white.
backlash
There
in the
was total
Filipino
backlash.
community.
He said he doesn't identify as, he's not sure if he should identify as an Asian American, and because he doesn't look that way,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have to experience the hardships that come with that or whatever. And so we went into it because I wanted to, talk to him about this. What are you talking about? Because the Filipino community is freaking claiming you,
Mm.
Oh yeah, totally.
and what do you mean?
yeah.
There's a ton of people who are white passing who are half Filipino.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have been colonized for hundreds of years
Yeah.
from the Spaniards, that we all look like some kind of mixed version of whatever, right? And we talked about it a lot. And the poignant moment from that interview is that he kept saying to me, people don't ask me about this stuff. This is the first time, that people care about my race. And I'm being asked about what it means to be Filipino.
Yeah.
How are you an advocate for your community? And, he's not gay, he's engaged. And after he did Glee, where he played this gay
Oh,
character,
yeah.
he became a prominent advocate for the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
So I said to him, after you did that, you became that for that community, and you're not that. People in the Asian American community are wondering why you're not as proud of an advocate. And, he's like, I feel like I am in my own way. If I'm not, I'm so sorry about that. For me, like my mom, who's Filipino, his mom's Filipino, is so special to me. And I like to keep those things private. And he apologized, and he goes, I've never, ever had to deconstruct what it means to be Filipino ever because I've never had to talk about it because I don't look like it.
And now suddenly he's having to do it in front of millions of people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure, and especially if you haven't had that chance to process it yourself.
Right. And I think it shows, and I got him to acknowledge like that he has a lot of white privilege. Like he has white privilege to not ever have to think about your race.
Yeah.
And you know, he says
I think that's that's something that happens with a lot of biracial kids. Like my boyfriend, he's half white, half Indian. And before he started dating me, he was like, I had no idea. I never really thought about being Indian because no one, like people in LA don't really ask you because people say New York is a melting pot. I feel like LA is a melting pot in that like the diversity has been around and accepted in pockets of LA for a long time. So there's a lot of biracial mixed kids and stuff everywhere. So like it was never a problem for him being biracial. He was just kind of clustered in there with like the white kids, with everybody.
Right.
But like dating me, he's like, oh, okay, you're dealing with all these issues that I never had to deal with.
Right.
Is he white passing?
No. Sometimes if he hasn't been in the sun for a little while. But,
I think also like being biracial, I think that almost makes your family a little bit more liberal inherently because it means that they went outside of what they've known and they like maybe in some cases had to fight for their love and like you know. So I think like with certain cultures or families that stick to their own culture, they might be a little bit more closed-minded. So that might be something that's new for him.
Yeah, that too. Like he never had to identify as anything. He was just like, I'm just a human being.
Right.
Instead of like, I'm Indian.
I don't
I'm
see
white.
color.
It's kind of like that.
Who say that they're
a citizen of the world.
They're so lucky. You know, they're
very
so
lucky.
lucky to live in their ignorant bliss that like everyone just sees me for who I am. And it's like, great. I agree. We are all one human race, but let's talk about the realities of what this means.
I think the problematic thing that hurt people's feelings, frankly, with what he said is that he's taking this role as a half Filipino, and portraying this person who's half Filipino and he's benefiting in that way, but then also doesn't acknowledge or hasn't had to acknowledge or had to advocate for that group. So it's like you're benefiting from it, but not necessarily fighting for it.
Or even having to think of what that means to you. So we talked for like an hour.
It's great that he does now.
Right. And he goes, the last thing he said to me was like, I'm really glad that someone like you is consistently, because I kept kind of asking the same version of the same. And so he's like, I've never had to deal with any of these kind of questions. I've never been confronted with like my identity or my role in the community, whatever. And I remember walking away from that feeling like, I'm so glad that I was able to talk with him about that and kind of share like, this is how the community feels, or at least the people I know in the community, and like what your role is now that you are up here and playing a role that is so fundamentally, you only got this because you're half Filipino.
So there was probably a lot of value in that conversation where he was able to see things in a different way. Maybe he didn't have that exposure to that way of thinking.
The intro music and the outro music for this podcast was made by my friend Ruby Ibarra, who's Filipino.
Up. Island Woman Rise. I'm obsessed with Ruby Ibarra.
She's like one of my close friends.
No way.
We worked at a company together. We're both scientists.
What?
And
I love her.
Yeah, so I went to I go to her concerts and I get to talk to Bamboo and like all those guys, and they're amazing. And it's a bunch of Filipino rappers from out of Oakland. And what's so great is that you'll go into their concerts and they're like super hard and they'll like rap and they'll be like super hard and they'll be like and they'll throw in things like we won't stand for intolerance of trans people, of people of color. Like they'll scream, but they'll have this like hard stereotype of what a rapper should be, and then they'll be like, my wife is in the audience, shout out to her, shout out to my baby. Like they're very like family community centric. And I went up to the green room and they had like all this homemade food.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They had all this homemade food and then like pre-rolled joints. Like,
oh my God.
All right, I'm there.
That's
I know.
a good spread.
It's so fun. It was so funny, but it was like, they're all so amazing and so like family oriented and so proud of their heritage that I could see how this would really like upset them because they're trying to connect to it. But
especially in a role that is literally, Sewell Chan, who's a reporter for the New York Times, wrote it best. If you haven't seen that Versace show, episode 8 is all about a nuanced Filipino-American family.
With his father, that episode, that was my favorite episode of the series.
Right?
Wow.
And it's like how the the model minority, right? That we are in pursuit of the American dream, our parents, blah, blah, blah. And it builds us up. And we're this incredible minority. But that shows a real view of it, how it destroys this family and creates this monster that became a murderer.
Yeah, I mean, the parents are so critical in a lot of our cultures that you can just see he sort of snapped when that one scene between when he finds his father in the Philippines and his
Spoiler
father.
alert.
Yeah,
Well, I'm not going to say exactly what happens, but you know, they reconnect. It's a flashback, and you just see how deeply hurt he is. So you see his humanity, how this murderer, this person who kills people in cold blood, you see him as a human and how he was just sort of broken by his father, someone who he expected to love him.
That's crazy that he hadn't connected as much to the Filipino community. It just shows that how good of an actor he is.
Yeah. He's a great actor.
He's like a great actor. All right, I think we should wrap up.
Yeah, we should switch to.
Well, I want to ask one quick question.
Okay. Yes.
Which presidents have you interviewed?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have done so I've interviewed actually the Philippine president,
Nice.
Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, when I was in college at the United Nations. I got super close to interviewing President Obama, like so close, and then was sideswiped by his security. No, just kidding.
Man.
And then I've interviewed like a lot of presidential candidates and their wives too, like Ann Romney and stuff like that when that was happening. So politicians, it's always interesting when you interview them because they know the game, obviously, right?
Yeah,
Like
they're also very media trained.
They're
and
so
they
media
help-
trained.
yeah.
They have their compact ready to go, like to make sure they don't look oily, and they're like bam, bam, boom, So yeah, politicians are always a good time. But I'll tell you, reporting live from the DNC Barack Obama 2008 in Denver, the most magnetic night ever.
Did you feel the magic in the air?
I was
because
on
we were
the
watching it on
floor.
TV, and I'm like, this is crazy.
It was insane. It's like this palpable energy. And then even when Bill Clinton was speaking, I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, I was
The charm.
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
like, dang. And then when he came on, I'm like, wow, what's happening right now? So, and then, we had great 8 years.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing.
Switch gears.
Yeah, I
guess.
know. That's
Yep.
amazing, though. That's crazy that you got to talk to all these world leaders. Maybe one day we'll have them on our podcast.
Maybe.
Okay, we ask our guests 2 questions at the end of this show. So we're South Asian, which is Desi.
You are?
Yeah. You don't see color.
I don't say it.
I don't say it. Which is Desi, which is a term that we use to describe ourselves. And we were wondering, who's your favorite Desi celebrity, South Asian celebrity?
Mindy Kaling.
Mindy Kaling.
Mindy Kaling.
Zara, how do you feel about this?
She's very talented.
I love Mindy
Very
Kaling.
diplomatic of Zara. Points to Zara for this part of the interview.
Yes.
She's
And
very
I
talented.
also love Rez Ahmed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's her favorite.
I want to marry him.
The night of, you sign me up.
Yep.
No, well, I
Totally.
know that girl ties. Yeah, never mind. Sorry.
Maybe not to the plot
Not that I
line
mean that,
of.
but I meant like his intensity. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
See, this is why women watch too many serial killer movies. His intensity as she was dying. I haven't seen it.
I love his passion.
I love his no, he's so sweet
I know
in the
he
beginning.
follows me everywhere I go, and he sent me letters with my hair in it. But I love his
He
passion.
really cares. He pays attention.
He knows all the details of my life, like when I'm sleeping and which windows are open in my house.
I know.
It's little things that matter.
He's really a good boy in that episode, in that series. The girl is the psycho.
Okay, well, spoiler alert for that too. I don't know.
You need to
I was
watch
gonna
more
watch
TV.
all of these things.
No.
Hey, we're
Watch
keeping it
Watch
really
it.
vague here.
Okay,
Watch
okay,
it. Watch it.
Okay, and then there are so those 2 amazing answers. But do you have any questions about Desi people that you would normally think would be like too dumb to ask, or because this is a safe space?
Anything about the people, the culture.
I do.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch A Little Princess?
No. What is that?
No.
Wow, that's
What is that?
This question is over then. It's this movie like from the 90s with this like little white girl, and there's like all these Indian. Have you seen it?
A Little
Am I alone on
Princess.
this?
Or I'm gonna have to watch it
Okay,
this
forget
weekend.
that question.
This
But
weekend.
anyways, there's a lot of references to Indian culture on that. She like grows up in Indian. They talk about religion, the god of the blue one.
Krishna?
Yes. And then all these different things. And I was just wondering if you guys had
1995.
an opinion of that, but never mind.
Oh wait, I think this girl looks familiar, but I don't.
It's my favorite movie growing up.
That's crazy because it really didn't matter to us at all.
So please-
Wow.
Did it?
Was not tailored to us, I guess. That's so odd.
That's weird.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it starred like a white woman, right?
Yes. So that's why I was wondering.
That
but it
trend's
has,
been
all
happening
these,
for a while.
Indian references in
Yeah.
it, like
Yeah.
um
I bet it was wrong. I'm just gonna go ahead and say in 1995 it was probably wrong.
They're wrong today.
I know.
They're wrong today.
It's also about a little white girl.
Did they do something in the movie that you have a question about?
I guess like they made just like Indian culture seem so magical.
It is. That's true.
Yeah.
It is very magical.
Right?
I would say
people believe in magic.
I honestly say like it's a stereotype that like Indian weddings are like the best, but they really are.
Is
the
that
best.
a stereotype? I'm so desperate to go to one.
You've never been to one?
No.
It's amazing.
No. Oh my gosh.
All right, one of us has to get married.
Get married.
Yeah.
Who's
Zara.
got you first?
Zara.
What?
I'm telling you,
I don't know
the
about
Indian
that, but-
community, South Asian community is my favorite community. In Greensboro, they adopted me. I covered India Fest every year, dressed up my aunties, dressed me up in these amazing saris. Like, it was so fun, like 3 hours of tailored content. They're like,
Yeah.
no one has ever cared so much. I'm like, yeah. And they gave
That's
my
awesome.
farewell was so sweet. I love them so much. I want to go to an Indian wedding. Is the
Okay,
point.
so
Yeah.
I'm offering a barter or a trade. I will take you as my +1 to an Indian wedding if you take me to the Emmy parties with you.
+3.
We're sneaking
Plus-
in
plus
to those-
3.
We're sneaking into those Emmy
Yay,
parties.
we're
I
gonna
think
do it.
Ocean's 4. I think Mindy Kaling would actually appreciate that.
Zara, would you like to
If
play
we
Mindy
tweeted
Kaling in that?
You can play her.
Hey, I get to eat a lot and look like Mindy
damn.
Kaling. I'm totally for it.
my God!
Damn.
I'm just saying I'm skinny.
Damn.
No, I'm just saying I'm skinnier than Mindy Kaling. So if I need to gain
But do you have
weight,
to say it though?
No, I did. What did I say?
I like you, Mindy Kaling.
If I was gonna be playing Mindy Kaling, I would have to gain weight for that part. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I would look forward to that. Everybody looks forward to gaining weight for a role. I'm
That's
pretty
true.
sure they do that.
I actually
Yeah.
do have a question.
Mindy, I read her book.
Which
I'm a
one?
fan of her talent.
But you're
So
skinnier.
Why is everybody? Why is everybody?
going out without me.
Yes.
or-
Why is everybody having fun without me and other concerns or something like
Nice,
that?
yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Wait, what else are you gonna ask?
I was gonna ask about the whole thing with. Well, I wanted to ask you guys this. What are the feelings about Aziz Ansari
Yep,
now?
I knew that was coming.
Mm.
Zara doesn't like him either.
I haven't liked him for a while though, and it's just that thing because I always thought he was insincere, not genuine, and very much branded.
To be
And-
like this pro woman.
Yeah,
guy.
and you know what? I read his book too. I read Modern Romance, and I appreciated what he did, and I thought he's a talented comedian. But for me, I was not a fan of that brand of stand-up comedy, and I wasn't a fan of his because he was hiding his identity. He
Yeah,
Which
refused.
identity?
Well,
What do
he
you mean?
refused to play Indian roles.
He did.
Which
For a
is-
while.
For a long time, for
But I think that
up until it was strategic for him to do so with Netflix with his Netflix series, he didn't play. He did not want to talk about his being Indian and his parents being Muslim and all of this stuff. He
okay.
strategically did all these things, and he branded himself a certain way, which is great for him. But it's also he was insincere, and now all this is out about how he treats women. After writing a book that was very pro women and the whole dating culture, and I'm like, at least practice what you preach.
I'm
You know?
I'm gonna say in his defense though, every person who's been a Desi celebrity or whatever has had to have the conversation where they have to have the accent or they have to play a stereotypical role. So I think that it's kind of good for the community for him to play a dude named Tom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For him to play other, I think
He did a great job as Tom.
I know,
I'm not saying
I know,
that. I'm
but
saying he's really talented.
I know, but that's not what I'm saying either. I'm saying that it was strategic for him, but I think it was also strategic for the community. And in
Where you don't
regards-
have to be identified by
Yes.
your ethnic
Yeah.
background.
Yes.
You can
Yeah.
be the person. You can be seen as a person.
I really appreciated I really appreciated Master of None,
too.
specifically the episode with the
immigrant.
immigrant story.
I love that
I do
one.
think it was great that he brought Lena Waithe on and had her fucking
Thanksgiving
blossom in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome too. I do think that sometimes he conflates the the Asian minority struggle with the black struggle, and I don't think that he needs to do that. He said things like, "Oh, there are black people in Hollywood," and it's they've dealt with enough shit,
Right.
we don't need to try to compete with them or compare our struggles to them. They're dying on the streets at the hands of cops right now. That's a different thing. So that part I didn't appreciate. And I do think that Yeah, like it's from reading the article, it sounded like dudes I've been on dates with before that just don't fucking take a hint. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
And it's
after
like,
you've written an entire book about it, did
There
all
are-
this research about it,
there are a ton of
you're
dudes
still gonna
that
treat
are
women
like
this
So you
way?
think he's a hypocrite?
I do think he's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I really do.
I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying that I'm just saying that it's not like, to me, it's not in the same context as a lot of the Me Too stuff. It's not
Of
in the
course
same
not. No.
caliber.
No, he's
so I
not-
do think I don't think he's like self-aware, and I think that he like that was clearly like a mistake, and I would never recommend any friend to date him.
So do you agree with the
But-
conflation of what he did to what like Weinstein did?
No,
my
No,
God.
yeah,
not
like,
at
that's
all.
that's totally
I'm
different.
not-
And I think
That's
I
not
think,
a Me Too. No, that's not. Like
I think when people saw that article
Yeah.
come out, they took the other things less serious. Like I heard
Yeah.
male comedians be like, "Well, now they don't like women are just saying like everything's bad."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
no,
I mean, that was bad.
no, but
It wasn't illegal.
I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm saying that they're saying that like they took that and they expanded it and saying and did the thing where they're like, oh, like now a hug is like the worst thing ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we are aware that there are levels to it, and he seems hella unaware or like just I would never want to go on a date with him. But I don't think it's at the same level.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't assign as much strategy to his thought process as you do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just to piggyback on what Zara said about his presentation with stand up, something I really appreciate is authenticity. And if he's purposefully hiding a layer, which, maybe there was some positive from that he was seen as a person and not like an Indian dude, person first, but like that is a piece of his story and you are omitting it. So I'm glad he is sort of unpacking that a lot more now.
Yeah.
Even if it is strategic or whatever,
Yeah, I mean,
everyone's going through their own process.
Okay. I will say I am like I've been accused of being a hater and I'm not denying it. Okay, like there are some people, but it's also like I wanted to like Master of None, and I did like it. I like a lot of his work. For him as a person, like people think of him as this like really innovative person, and he is, but he's not doing anything for you. You like is he gonna put you on a show? I hope he does. But up until recently, he's never really like individually gone out to help anyone from the community. Like him just being him.
That seems to be
he's helped.
the problem that you like have with these.
So I think
celebrities.
something we need to
that's maybe the
consider
problem.
is that a lot of these gatekeepers and producers are
Yeah.
white people, and they
Yeah.
might say you filled the quota.
Yeah, but he's in a position now, and he's been in a position for a while where he can do something to help. The people around him. Like you won't see him in this group of, like you won't see
Right.
him with like a group of friends. But like someone like Hassan, like he's helping others come up with him.
Super inclusive.
He's super
love
inclusive.
Hassan.
He's not like
He's
I'm the
really good looking.
Oh, he
Oh
is.
my
I was like,
God.
what
so
the-
good looking.
And talk about an authentic special.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that was intense.
Incredible.
I watched
Yeah.
the special. I was like, good
Yeah,
close-ups
his
on that
his work
face.
has a lot of heart in it, and it
Yeah,
shows.
It's a good face too.
I'm sorry. Talking about Aziz always riles me up, so I'll stop.
But I
love
just
it.
wonder because I don't
But-
know
Oh
what happened to him.
Exactly.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, we got to wrap up. But
Thank you.
thank you for being here. And where can we find you and your projects?
Oh, okay. So you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Jackie Fern, and that's FERN. And then all of that stuff will be put on there.
Jackie with
It's
an
the
IE.
one that's like verified.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm not kidding, but
Congratulations.
Yeah. No,
Yay.
it's so good, Chris. But yeah, JACKIEFERN.
Cool. And I'm Pallavi Gunalan, PALLAVIGUNALAN. That's my website and my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Facebook.
Oh, that's nice.
We didn't laugh.
I know they're getting better at not laughing at my fucking name.
I hear that.
It's really long.
It is
A
long.
lot of syllables. I recently changed all my socials because people were calling it Zara Alive.
Oh.
Yeah, so I changed my socials. So it's now Zara does IG and
Oh,
Zara
okay.
does tweets. So Zara is ZAHRA.
Oh.
Yeah.
So was Zara tweets taken?
Zara everything is taken because
Yeah.
every single Zara is
And
on the internet.
Zara likes
Got
to be
it.
inclusive with other people in the community as long as they're
Not named Zara.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Jinx.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm Fizza Dasani. That is spelled, or actually, Fizza Dasani, or at Fizza Dasani on Twitter and Instagram, spelled FIZAADOSANI, and the Fizza FIZAA on Facebook and FizzaDasani.com.
And our
that's
website is facialrecognitioncomedy.com. Our Instagram and our Facebook are at Facial Recognition Comedy, and our Twitter is at Facial Rec Comedy. We will be at West Side Comedy Theater the second Sunday of every month at 9 p.m. And a new episode of this podcast drops every Tuesday. Shout out to Ruby Ibarra again for doing the music.
I love her.
Yay.
She's so good.
She's
Galing
the
on
best.
Ruby Ibarra. And you guys really look different from each other.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for saying that.
Thank you for noticing.
Oh my goodness.
Noticing all the different features. So beautiful.
Yay. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Salamat.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.